Scott Brinkly here with Nexstar. So this video is to show you how to add something to your Service Titan, because all the coaches at Nexstar, we go, we believe the best way to present anything to the customer is on the summary and findings page. One of the issues that we see though with technology changing as customers, our members are going paperless, and obviously Service Titan is the main software that most members are using now, and they're using the present step to present the customers their options. And from a sales perspective, it's really rough, and I say rough meaning that it's you have to fumble through it. Even though they've made strides and they added payments to it and everything, it just I don't know, I'm just not sold on it 100%. So until I feel 100% good with it, I'm going to always recommend you use paper. The issue is again, a lot of members aren't wanting to use paper. So when I'm going to shops and doing on-sites, I'm running into issues, me personally trying to show techs how to present their summary and findings page with Service Titan, because it just doesn't flow well for me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to build a PDF and put it in Service Titan, so that when you present, you actually go to present, it will export it to your tablet on a summary and findings page. This way you don't have to fumble back between all the tasks, and it's going to put it in a more presentable way for the customer. So what I've done here is I've just created a blank PDF, okay? And you see it's got a spot for observations, immediate repairs, and system restoration enhancement, system update. Now I'm going to build an HVAC one here, okay? So what I'm going to show you real quick is once you've got this built, you can go here to PDF Escape. So pdfescape.com. This is a free program you can use, and so all I've done is I've uploaded this PDF that I created. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do, you see it says form field. I'm going to put some form fields in here. So let me show you what that does. So like right here, I'm going to do a text field, so I'm going to hit select. Underneath this observations, I'm just going to put this big box right here. Now what this is doing is this is creating an area that when you upload this into Service Titan and you go to present it, whatever we put in our observations, whatever we type in Service Titan, it will export it to this area. But obviously I have to link it to that. Okay, so let me show you real quick. So now that I've clicked, I put one form field in there. You see it changed colors. Let me go ahead and go into Service Titan here. Now once you get into Service Titan, we have to tell Service Titan, well, what do we want to put in that form field? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click and go to Knowledge Base. Okay, so in Knowledge Base, what I want you to do is right here, I want you to type in SMART. What we're going to do is we're going to put SMART fields in there. So I type in SMART, and you see it says how to use PDF forms with SMART fields. So go ahead and click that. I'm going to scroll down, and it obviously gives you instructions on once you get it created how you upload it, but I'm sure somebody at your office has uploaded some custom forms. When I scroll down, you see these are all the SMART field codes right here. So this is what I have to put in that actual box that we just created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and I'm looking for the SMART field code for like your summary and findings. What would you put in this box? So example, you can see some of these SMART field codes that they have. Where you can put the payments in here. So let's look real quick, bear with me. So if you see right here, this says invoice summary. This is what Service Titan calls your observations. So you see the code is IS. So I'm going to come back over here, and then what I have to do is I have to type in IS here. So I'm going to click on the text up here. I'm going to click in the box, and you can do it anywhere in the box, it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to type in IS. So now when we create this form, we put it in there. Well, Service Titan, when you actually create the PDF, anything in your your observations, right, will type into this box. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a few more. Like you can come up here, I'm going to, again, select text. I'm going to put up here a box. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a few of them up here. And again, you create this however you want. Okay, so now in this box, I'm going to hit text. I'm going to click in here. And again, I'm just doing this really quickly. So in that smart field, so if let's say we want the date and maybe the customer's name. So I'm going to go back over here to Service Titan. So your customer's name is CN, customer name, right? And then the date is TD. You know, I already know it, so I'm not going to scroll down to it. But so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click, make sure it's on text, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in here. And anywhere in this box, I can put, you know, CN. And in this box here, I'm going to type in TD. And so you can do a bunch of these. Again, you can put, you know, your job number, anything you want. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so that's how you actually, you know, so again, so when you export, it's going to pull the customer's name over and today's date, whatever we put in there. Let's go to the form field. Let's make this form field. I'm going to make it a little larger. It looks like it's a little smaller than the other one. Okay, so now this is going to have the date and the customer's name. It's also going to have our summary and findings, you know, right here, observations. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and put form field again. I'm going to put a box right here. And you do the same thing all the way down. And so the cool thing in Service Titan, by doing this, you might have a generic statement that you want written, you know, say right here. For example, you might say it's time for a system up, maybe it's time for a system update. You might type in, you know, speak to a comfort advisor about upgrading to the energy standards of today. And that's something that you can actually, when you put this in there, well, in Service Titan, you can create a generic, you know, task that when you say, all right, so I want to, it's over 10 years old. So if the system's over 10 years old, right, you can click it, and anything you've pre-populated will automatically come in here, as well as with whatever they've typed in. All right, so let me show you real quick. Now the other thing is, so now this is created to where it's going to get our notes. Well, we have to get our prices in here. So you can come over here and you can actually create another form field. And you can put a form field on top of a form field. Okay, so I'm going to put one here at the very bottom. I'm actually going to go ahead and put another one in. And so what I'm doing here, I'm creating spots to put your prices in. So in this, believe it or not, I can actually go, I can preload this. Again, when we design it, like you see this is designed here already. You know, I could have put in here total investment and put a spot for the total investment. I could have put a spot for monthly investment and then put these two extra boxes in here. And then so what happens, so then if I go back and like the total investment, I already know the code. I'm going to go to the text. The code for the total investment, right, is it's E1T. Okay, that's estimate for number 1, which is, this is 1 total. Alright, then over here the payment. So let's go back to Service Titan. Let me show you real quick. Okay, so E1S is the notes or the summary for estimate 1. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to actually type in this box. Okay, got E1S. So now anything I put into the estimate summary in Service Titan is going to populate through here. Just going to type it all in. So you can put on there, I was out at Mary's house, and we determined, well, like a good example up here for the estimate summary is, so right here in the observations, right, let me give you an example of what you would type in here. So let's say that customer's name is Mary Jones. It'd pull Mary Jones forward in today's date. Well, here you want to obviously put why you were called out, what you found wrong. So a good idea, excuse me, would sound something like this. Like, I was called to Mary's house because her heating and cooling system was not working. During my evaluation, I determined her starting capacitor was blown. Right. I also went through the entire system and did a thorough evaluation because Mary had some issues, in the past, and she's not moving anytime soon. This way she has a good understanding of her, good understanding of the condition of her entire system. Right. See my findings below. So if you typed all that into Service Titan, it would actually pull forward and go here. Okay. So now A, let's say in A she had a capacitor. So you put in there, well, the capacitor's bad. And then, for example, on your plus 10s, you might not want the monthly investment in here. Matter of fact, I wouldn't recommend it. Just pull this E1T box over here, so that way it's going to give a total. So it might say capacitor bad, $250. Okay. Well, here, let's scroll down a little more. So system restorations and enhancements. So an idea on a 10 plus system, something that would go here. So let me tell you, obviously I travel to a lot of companies, and one of the mistakes I see is that under B, they'll just put a laundry list of things. Well, that you had a conversation with the homeowner, right, that these are things that could potentially go wrong, or obviously there are any enhancements. Well, the problem is if you just laundry list it in there, the neighbor, the husband, the media, anybody else that comes involved thinks you're trying to sell all these items, and you're not. B is more of education on a 10 plus system, what could potentially go wrong. So, in this example, I prefer just to write a paragraph on if it's older than 10 years old, just explaining what you found wrong and give an idea of what it would cost if they went bad. So the best advice I can give you for your paperwork is that you write it for the individual that's not there. I mean, you write it for the husband, you write it for the spouse, whoever, you write it for the neighbor, you write it for the media. And if you do that, then anybody that comes along later in life can see what's, a story of what's happened here. Okay? So I'll give you an example of something that I would write in B. If it was, let's just say it was a 15-year-old system, I might put in here, during my evaluation, I noticed extreme temperature stress points on the heat exchanger. It's still in safe operation now, but when it fails, it will cost about $1,800. And if you notice, I said about or around. Again, I'm not asking them to do the heat exchanger. I'm just letting them know in the future, if this potentially fails, what it would cost around. Okay? Then also in here, so I'm going to touch on the actual 10 plus systems. I'm going to focus on here on three major things: safety, reliability, and efficiency. So you heard that first sentence I just gave you. I hit, safety and reliability. Well, let's talk about efficiency. So I might put a statement in here that says, due to the condition of the outside system, the indoor blower motor and the combustion chamber, these things are costing you to overpay about 28% on your utility bills to keep this thing running. So basically, anything you type in here is going to get pulled forward. Okay, now, and then last but not least, like this last one, I'm going to go ahead and show you. Let's put a text box in here. So I'm going to put a text box right here. So just to show you, this will say E2S. I'll throw another text box down here. This will be E3S. Okay, so now anything I type in, so here, your statement would be something similar to, maybe it's time for a system update, maybe it's time to speak to a comfort advisor about upgrading to the energy efficiency standards up to date. And so you can see now in this example, I didn't put price boxes in here because this would be 10 plus. It's more education. You don't want them to feel that you're trying to sell all these products. You're just educating them on potentially things that could go wrong in the future. The other thing is, now if this was less than 10 years, yeah, you might have, you would have another text box here that goes over your total investment and a monthly investment. And again, I would have probably created this where it says system restorations enhancement. I probably would have had my PDF created where it says monthly investment here, total investment here. So that way when I pre-populated these, it would be very simple to present to the customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create one in Service Titan, populate this, and I'm going to pause the video so that when I come back I can actually show you. Okay, so you see what I've done here is walked you through creating a custom form in Service Titan that, when you go to present, instead of actually just hitting the present step and having to fumble through the monthly investments and all that, you're able to build it in Service Titan, export it to a custom PDF. Now on my screen, obviously this PDF is smaller, but on your iPad or your tablet, it will take up the entire screen, and it just makes it a lot easier to present. So here's an example of so this form is saved as the under 10, and so what will happen is, again, a technician types in everything, and then but what he does is he hits export to the under 10, and what the under 10 means, it just basically is going to give a total investment and a monthly investment on both of these options. Alright, so that's the way it looks. Now if I look at the over 10, here's one of the over 10. You see it takes away the monthly investment, just on the over 10. So the way this would look, so if I'm a technician, I come in, I got to present this. Obviously I would have kept the customer involved. We would have diagnosed it. We would have looked at, in this example, we would have looked at the heat exchanger, saw the discoloration in it. It doesn't have any holes in it yet, because if it had holes or cracks in it, it would be listed in A. So let's just say it's in really bad shape. And the other thing I would have done while I was there, I would have checked the efficiency of the heat and air system. So let's say that originally it was a 25-year-old and it was a 10 SEER, but maybe it's operating at about a 7 now. So then I would have calculated the overpayments, and that's what this is here. So then when I go to present, I type all this into to your notes in Service Titan. I'd export it to an over 10, and the way it would look, it would pull anything forward that we have in there. So if you see in this example, I'd come and say, Mary, do you have a minute? Let's go through this. She said, yep. And I said, all right. So I'm just going to read this to you. I was called out to obviously your house because your heat and cooling system's not working. During my evaluation, I determined that our starting capacitor was blown. I also went through the entire system, did a thorough evaluation, because Mary said she has some issues in the past. She's not moving anytime soon. And basically, this way you have a good understanding of your entire system. So now, obviously this is written, again, your best paperwork is written for the people that weren't there. So if the homeowner, husband comes home, or the neighbor, or somebody else reads it, they can see, they can paint a picture of what happened. So in A, you see I just put a capacitor in it, and it pulled $312 forward. B, now obviously again, I would have let her sing the heat exchanger. I would have checked the efficiency and kept her really involved. So B, I would just say, so believe it or not, Mary, the only thing today to get your system up and running is the starting capacitor. So when we replace that, you're going to be up and running, and your system will be working. And she's going to say, well, what about everything else you saw, Scott? I'm going to say, well, you're right. I put those under B here, so because those things are not broken. They're just, a lot of things are in really rough shape. I'll tell you what, let me just go ahead and read this to you, Mary. So during my evaluation, I noticed extreme temperature stress points on the heat exchanger. This is still in safe operation, but when it does fail, it will cost around $1,800. Now, Mary, also when I first got here, you told me you weren't going anywhere. And I said, well, due to that, I'm going to go ahead and do a thorough evaluation of the entire system. So part of my evaluation for you, Mary, is I check the efficiency of it, because as you noticed, those fins being pushed on the outside, that obviously affects airflow and affects efficiency. The indoor blower motor had all those issues that you saw, right? So I checked the efficiency. So I'll tell you what, let me just go ahead and read this to you. So due to the condition of the outside system, the indoor blower motor, and the combustion chamber, these are causing you to overpay about 28% on your utility bill to keep this thing running. So once you go over that, and this, I'm not telling you how to present it, but if it were me personally, I'd say, well, Mary, my biggest fear is, you're going to put $312. I just point to this. You're going to put $312 in it today. Again, I wouldn't say it. I just point to it because she can read it. So my biggest fear is you're going to repair it today, right? Have a potential repair in the next year. I point to the $1,800. All along while overpaying on utility bills to keep this thing running. So at this point, I'm going to recommend C, which is maybe time to upgrade your system to the energy efficiency standards of today. So what's that mean? What's that look like? And then at this point, you either, if you're selling tech, you do that, or if you're a comfort technician, turnover tech, you turn it to a comfort advisor. So hopefully this helps you. So now I feel a lot more comfortable when I do an on-site of obviously if you create this form in Service Titan, we can populate with anything you type in, but then it just makes it really easy to present to the customer. It's a lot more special, and then just the way, because I really hate that the way when they build an estimate in Service Titan and it emails the customer like 5 different emails of 5 different estimates versus this can all be in one form. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you need me for anything, you can email me at scottb@nexstarnetwork.com. Thank you.